Yeah, you guys really like this podcast thing, right?
Yeah.
We never had a guest leave
First
before.
time for everything.
Hey guys, Aaron Kraling here with the Southside Group Real Estate on the Southside Blueprint. We've got JR and Peyton here from Advantage Mechanical Services, and we're just going to have a conversation about their business. So how are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Yeah, you guys really like this podcast thing, right?
Yeah.
We never had a guest leave
First
before.
time for everything.
We'll blame it on your wife.
Yeah, exactly.
It was her idea.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a dangerous one.
And she refused and stayed home.
Right, yeah. She was on the invite. I see that she didn't show up, though.
Exactly.
Very good. So I guess how long have you guys been in business? I know you kind of ventured, I guess, full time here soon or recently.
Yes, so I pretty much started it June, July of last year.
Okay.
So I will be March 26th of this year. Be 30 years I've been in HVAC trade.
Okay.
Nice.
It's changed a little bit, I guess, over the years.
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah, and I spent up to from 96 to 2008. I worked mostly residential.
Okay.
I worked, around here for companies and stuff, and then I went on base.
Okay. Doing
And-
mostly commercial there on base?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you do a little bit of everything there.
Sure.
It's all mixed up. So I was there from 2008 until just 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. There
Okay.
you go. Very good.
I just finally said I had enough.
Okay. So let's go work for ourselves.
Yeah. That's the headache really began.
Right. And you tricked your daughter into doing it too.
Well, it's just the juggling of trying to, do a 40-hour week there and then taking care of people, that call and, nighttime, and you work all weekends, and it's like you just don't have any time for yourself. And
Sure.
I'm like, it's perfect opportunity, and I just want to go out and help people.
There you go.
So,
Yeah, so let's just back it up a little bit. So let's go. How'd you get started off, and then where do you see things going from here? And who's your average customer right now?
starting off, like, what do you mean starting off? Like,
I just mean with the business, like turn it into a business entity from, going private.
yeah, I mean, I just doing stuff for people and, friends and family, and I just, everybody's always calling and like, hey, you should try to do a business for yourself, and I'm like, yeah, and just listening to all the people out, complaining about some of the services they're getting around here,
Sure.
and it's like,
You felt like there was an opportunity?
Yeah. And, I just see that a lot of these companies are pushing more towards service salesmen than service technicians.
Sure.
You know, which is, it's just, with me being in the trade as long as I have, and I came up through the, learning from knowing nothing to doing it all. And, that was one thing that got beat in our head was you learned how to fix stuff.
Sure.
You went out to help that person, customer, to help them with their situation, just like going to the doctors, and do what you can do to get the people, get their stuff back up and working for them. And, if you
Sure.
can save them money.
Right.
But now it's just a mentality of go to somebody's house and condemn it, tell them they need all new stuff, don't even try to fix it, and give them this humongous bill. And
Just like the auto industry.
yeah, and the people are sitting there like, what are they going to do? It's 20 degrees outside, and you tell them their units, need to be replaced, and it could be a $50 part.
Sure.
Fix it to get it back on, and maybe get them through until spring when they have the money or can get the money to do their job.
You're saying most of these guys are just saying, we're not going to even check it out. We're not going to see what's wrong. You just need a new one. Call it a day.
Yeah, I've been to multiple houses lately that people call and said that, they had, other companies come out and look at it, and just simple stuff. It's like basic stuff that you learn when you first get in the trade.
Yeah.
And they overlook it, and they just don't care. But what I think a lot of it is they're who they work for is pushing them.
Sure.
They got to meet a quota, like you got to. I couldn't work for nobody like that. If they told me I had to sell a certain amount a week, I'm like, well, I'm not working here. Cause
Sure.
I can't do that. I'd rather, if I
tell that to your guys, though?
stuff, if I could fix stuff, I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And that's the way it should be. But a lot of them, it's making our people, it makes the HVAC people that are in my trade, it makes us all look bad.
Sure.
Because we get all grouped together and everybody looks and thinks that we're all the same.
Sure.
We're all just trying to make all the money and, just cover everything up and just say, oh, you need a new one, we can't help you, so
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah. No, we face that a lot too. We find that we find that, at the end of the day, if you can provide a customer multiple options and give them the pros and cons to each of those, hey, we could, limp your system through the next couple months or in the next year or so. It's going to be this. You could do this. It's going to be this cost, or here's the price of that. We find that when the consumer or when the customer is in control and making that decision, typically they feel a lot better about it, right?
Yes, exactly.
And two, it's probably is, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of times if somebody has the ability to replace a unit and you give them, option A, B, or C, if they can afford it, it might be the best investment for them.
Yeah, exactly.
To go ahead and replace it.
Yeah, you got to weigh your loss, what it's going to cost to fix it and what it would cost to replace it.
Sure.
But, some people just don't have that money at that time to do it.
Right.
Or, offering financing is fine, but and some of them finances companies, they just, their interest rates through the roof. And it's
Sure.
like, people, you'll be paying for it for 30 years, and then you've already changed it 2 or 3 times. So,
No, don't even live in that house anymore, and you're still paying on it. So, no, I can appreciate that.
It's been doing it long enough to see the change in the of the years of how stuff has progressed, and it's just these private equity firms are coming in and buying all these small mom and pop shops up. They roll in, they take care, they're going to explode everybody around them, and basically, if they want to put you out of business, they can run you out.
Sure.
Because they got the marketing and they're in your face every day and, stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a struggle, but to me, as I get out there and do work for people and word of mouth travels, and I picked up a lot of work from just doing good work for people and honest work.
Yeah.
And, and they'll refer me to somebody else, and then I'll go help them out.
Yeah.
Like I had one guy, he'd done a lot of the work himself for his house.
Sure.
And he was like, man, he said, I can't find nobody that will come in and hook my unit and stuff up for me. He said, because everybody said, oh, you did most of it yourself.
Right.
We're not going to do it.
Sure.
I said, no problem. So I went there and looked at it and looked at everything. And he's like, what do you think? I was like, looks good. You've done a good job.
Yeah.
And I messed with him. I said, you looking for a job? He did a good job. I was impressed. And he asked my opinion on stuff, and I gave it to him. And he was like, oh, man, I really appreciate that. And so we went out like the following week and hooked everything up for him, got it running. And I explained to him everything, how stuff should be. And I told him, I said, when you get ready to start doing the rest of it, finishing it up, I said, if you have any questions, call me.
Yeah.
I said, I ain't got no problem in helping you.
Sure.
And that's the problem. A lot of people they want to charge everybody for every little thing. Sometimes I've talked people over the phone how to fix stuff.
Sure.
At their own house. It's like, instead of me, I could have said, okay, well, I'll go out and charge you, X amount of money to clean a condensate track.
Right.
I can walk you through it.
Sure.
And you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
It saves you money and saves me time. It ain't all about the money.
Yeah.
It's about helping people. And that's what we need to do now, is help people.
Well, I think so much in so many different industries, we get so fixated on like profitability now and sales now and things like that. But, for some people, and I know, your daughter's now in the trade working alongside of you, the reputation that you build now will build clients for lifetime,
Yes.
you know, and so ultimately a lot of the clients you're serving now, hopefully, are your clients, you know, in the future too,
Well,
you know. So
that's my goal, you know. I'm at that age. I'm 48. You know, I'm 30 years in the trade. I'm like,
I was gonna say, you started when you're 8 years old.
you know, I started when I was 18. Yeah, 18, I think. Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to build something for her.
Sure.
So, you know, later on down the road, when I retire, she can pick it up, and it's money into trades. And, you know, like I told her, I was like, just because you're a girl doesn't mean you can't do it. I was like,
Right.
I see women in the trade all the time
Sure.
that, you know, are out there doing sometimes better than the men are doing.
Sure.
It's anybody's fair game if they want to learn how to do it.
Sure. Yeah. There's plenty of work for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a plenty of work for everybody, but some people, these bigger companies, they'll bash these little companies big time just to try to cut you out so you don't get no work. So
Right. So what do you think about the trade so far?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Working along Dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
it can be, it can be frustrating sometimes. I know she gets kind of get the brunt of some of me sometimes. It's kind of hard to, you know, deal with everything sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
You know, to be actually running a business now instead of working for somebody.
Sure.
But I mean, when I did work for other companies, I did take a lot on because I was also, you know, at the time before I went on base, company I worked for before, I was only between the owner and me were the only licensed two people there.
Oh wow.
So I would get to do work in Anne Arundel County back in the day. You would have to have a Maryland State Journeyman's to do work there. Well, I was the only one in the company that held the Journeyman's.
Oh wow.
And that was back in, I started there in 2004, worked from 2004 to 2008. And I would get pushed, you know, any job up the road, I would get that.
Sure.
You know, I would give you that. You know, I've been sent to Salisbury.
You get the leftovers.
Well, and then, you
Do all the
know,
work nobody else wants to do.
Well, that and the family and friends of the owner,
Yeah.
he would send me, you know, up past Annapolis and stuff. Was like, hey, I got a friend of mine. I need you to go do this for him.
Yeah.
You know, his brothers, aunts, uncles, stuff. You know, I did a lot of work for them. You know, under him, and you know, he pushed. You know, he seen that I could do a lot of stuff, and you know, he, you know, kept giving it to me, and you know, I got some pretty good big jobs from him. You know, learning how to do stuff.
Sure.
So, but
So I know one of the things that we talk to, like anybody that's buying a house or selling a house, there's typically some components of the house that are like the big ticket items, right? So one of them being a septic system, especially down here in Southern Maryland. Another one being a roof, right? And then your HVAC, right? So what are some things that, like, I guess we'll do it from somebody that already owns a house first, and then we'll go into maybe somebody that's looking to buy a house. For somebody that owns a house, I mean, what are some of the things that they should be doing to maintain that system?
filter change.
They hear it all from me all the time.
I do stress, you know, a lot of these people go and buy these expensive 3M.
Sure.
They're not worth the money to actually choke your system down.
Sure.
I heard that you're better off using the ones that are less. They stop the airflow less, but replace them like once a month or something.
Yeah, the less, you know, they rate them by MERV ratings. So
What's that stand for?
We'll Google it.
Yeah. So, you know, the lesser MERV, like 10, 11 MERV is fine. I mean, that's, you get a month out of them.
Sure.
The more you change them, the better you're going to be, you know, but these people going spending $30, $40 for these 3M filters.
Smells like lavender.
Well, that and, like, I've done testing on them in systems where I've had them thick filters and do a static pressure check.
Sure.
And it drives the static up so
Sure.
high that it's the unit is actually struggling to, you know, run where it's supposed to be. So then you're wearing the motor down, and
Sure.
it's just combination of things that cause problems. Now then you get some of your newer houses. A lot of the builders now are pushing more toward a 4-inch pleated filter.
Okay.
Which are, I every 3 months is what I try to, but they have more surface area, so it's less static pressure on them because it's got more area of surface for the air to go through. But that and keeping your condensate pumps clean,
sure,
make sure they're plugged in. Even if people have, they need to see if they actually have a water switch on the floor.
Yeah,
a little sensor. That saves a lot of money because that thing floods. I've seen houses with, basements flooded 10, 15 gallons of water all over the floor, and then it just makes a big mess.
Sure.
Yeah, and that and the thermostats, I don't like some of the Nest thermostats. We've had a lot of issues with them.
Sure.
And I'm kind of the old school set it, forget it, and walk away.
Right.
The up and down and programming and scheduling. It causes more headaches because the system has to, you're going from 1 degree, some people are setting them where to go from 60 to 70, it's like that unit's got to take a while to catch up to that speed. And
by the time it gets up to 70, they have it dropping back down again.
Yeah, you're not really saving anything.
Right.
Because we had this problem on base. They had brought an energy company in and went around and put all these thermostats on.
Sure.
And they set them up, programmed them. Well, a lot of your commercial buildings, they have to have outside air to bring in fresh air all the time.
Okay.
Well, what was happening was when the thermostat at 6 o'clock would shut down, it would go to 85 degrees in air conditioning.
Oh, wow.
Well, the fan would still run and bring in all that hot, humid air.
Sure.
So the next day it would go to come on. It's 85 degrees and 90% humidity, so it just made it work twice as hard. The buildings wouldn't cool down. So we had to tweak a lot of that stuff and go in and change them and, actually try to get rid of some of the programming into them to make them work better. So, but they got sold on a lot of wasted stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah.
It's a government way sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Government ways? No way.
Never.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know that's like a big pet peeve. Like when I'm showing somebody a house that's for sale, I will always look for the filter because to me that's such a huge sign. I mean, I've seen them where to a point. Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure you've seen them too. But like literally, where like the furnace is like eating the filter because it hasn't been changed for 15 years or something, and there's this much dog hair on it or whatever, and it's like literally collapsing the filter in or whatever. I mean, it's something so simple. I mean, even if you're not going to pay to get it serviced, at least just change the filter.
Yeah, the filter's the easiest. And I try to do, like when I do houses, I always try to use a filter grill.
Okay.
Because that way you're filtering the air before it goes through your duct system.
Sure.
And also, it's in your face.
Okay.
Because if it's in the unit, most of the time people forget about it.
Sure.
You don't think about it, and then when it stops working, then you're like, oh man, now
right.
Now it's stopped up.
It's
not working.
What do you think about? So I mean, you got the filter. What do you think about these UV systems?
I've
mixed feelings.
Yes, it is. I've used them. Haven't really seen any difference in them.
Okay.
Only thing I've found that it actually, depending on where you locate them in a unit at, if the wiring and the drain pans are not UV rated, it will eat the wire coating off within months.
Oh wow!
It would literally eat everything in there. It'll make wires crumble. The drain pan, it just turns plastic right to dust.
Oh wow!
Because we're outside is UV all the time. But
sure.
You're intensifying it, and they say it's killing germs and bacteria coming through.
Right.
But how do you know?
Yeah. Right.
You if you're not taking air samples to
right.
check it, how do you know if it's actually doing anything? And we went to a lady's house last week, and I went there to work on her pellet stove.
Okay.
So I'm doing offering cleaning and stuff like that for pellet stoves because not a lot of people fool with them,
Yeah.
And she was telling me that she had this system put in her unit, and she was like, I got this put in, and she said, my allergies or nothing never got any better, you know?
Sure.
I said, well, I'll look at it. So we went in there and we pulled the door off the unit, and I'm looking, and I found it, and I was like, it's called an iWave, and
Fancy name.
it kind of generates ozone
Okay.
to help with the air.
Sure.
Well, when we pulled the door off, I was like, ooh, it had bacteria growth everywhere.
Huh.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was bad, and we took pictures of it, and I showed it to her.
Like mold?
Not necessarily mold. It's just like a dirty dirt. It's like a dust that collects, and it just kind of grows, like kind of.
Sounds healthy.
Yeah, it's nasty stuff. But you know, I told her and showed her, and she's like, "Well, I have a service contract with a company," and I'm like,
Call.
"What are they doing?" I'm like, "All that should have been cleaned out of there." She's like, "Well, they came not too long ago." But she said the original guy that was coming there with the company, she said he was there for 2 to 3 hours a day every time he came out.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay. And then she's like, now I got a new person coming out from the same company, but he's only here for like an hour.
Right.
And is trying to do all our units. And I'm like, well, I don't think he's doing a very good job. You know? So she's, you know, was kind of asking questions about that. So I told her, I was like, I got to go back and work on her pellet stove, but she wants me to, you know, go through them and check them and stuff. I'm like, ain't no problem. I was like, it's easy cleaning. It's just they need to be done. And I see a lot of that lately. It's like, you know, they charge these people for these service contracts, and they go out and pretty much do nothing.
Sure.
Yep.
Or they'll go in and find, you know, tell them, oh, you got all this stuff growing in your unit and you need to replace it.
Sure.
You know, just and easy spray it down, clean it, wipe it out, vacuum it out, and, you know, let it keep going.
Right.
Yeah, so there's obviously a lot of different ways you can take care of all these different HVAC situations, different solutions. If somebody is just coming into this and they say, you know, what's the most cost-effective way for heating and cooling? Like for those two, what are you looking at? I mean, I'm guessing
What's the most efficient system?
Yeah.
I try to go somewhere in between. You got to kind of balance the price out because some of these units, you know, the bigger units are pushing, you know, 25, 30 SEER. Well, the price of them are so much that you'll never recoup your money back.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, so I try to go kind of middle of the road. You know, standard. I think right now lowest is 15. I try to do like a 15. You know, I give them the option. I say, look, this is what a 15 is, and an 18 and a 20.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of Bosch inverter systems because I found that the inverter system is actually pretty more efficient than a regular standard system that runs, you know, all at once or nothing. You know, inverter ramps up and down as it needs it. You know, temperature-wise maintains good temperature. But I've also had people say, "Oh, I don't like them because we've had problems with them," and I'm like, "Well, did you read the instructions?" And
Of course not.
Yeah, and I've been to classes on them, and they, you know, people brought up in the class was like, "Well, this unit doesn't dehumidify right," and they're talking to the people, and the instructor, would be like, "What did you change your cycle rates per hour in the thermostat?" No, we didn't know we had to. What's in an instruction?
Right.
And that's part of, and that's what gives some of these brands of equipment a bad name because the people installing them are not actually reading the manual.
Sure.
You know, I've had homeowners when I was doing replacement work. I did replacement work for 9 years straight. You know, and I've actually had homeowners question me why I was reading the manual. And I'm like, I'm reading the manual because they make changes all the time, and they don't tell us about it because they're expecting us to read the manual
Right.
to catch the changes.
Sure.
You know, and I've ran across problems like that, like brand new units that were put in. This was back when I first started in the trade. We had all these units were being installed. We used Carrier. Well, Carrier modified their line a little bit, didn't tell us,
Yeah.
And made a few subtle changes on it while people were going out putting all these units in. Well,
Yeah.
we started having all of a sudden we started having all these leaks.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? So I went out and was working on one of them. I got looking at it. I'm like, I figured out what it was. It was the secondary drain needed to be plugged off because they put a plastic cover over the drains, and you would knock the first hole out to put your main drain in.
Sure.
Well, the other one was your secondary drain, and it's elevated a little bit, and the plastic was sticking out enough where it would create a negative vacuum,
Sure.
hold the water in the drain pan, and the drain pan would actually overfill and run over because it was sucking so much air through there, it wouldn't let it go out the drain.
Sure.
So then I was like, I told my boss, I was like, look, I think I found out was wrong. I said, we need to start plugging these holes.
Yeah.
Started doing that, all the problems went away.
Sure.
Main drain.
And he was like, man, that was a good catch. I'm like, yeah, sometimes you just got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
So
is that what your job is with the company? You have to read the directions?
Yeah.
Tell him what to do, and then he'll do it?
Yeah.
yes, you can read the directions. Yeah.
So, sometimes it's the simple things in life that just,
it is. And, a lot of people overlook stuff. And, they just don't read the directions or don't want to read them or,
Sure.
companies I've worked for, I've been behind, people that work there that put furnaces in that didn't convert them.
Yeah.
We don't, very seldom you're going to get any natural gas here in the county.
Sure.
Most things are propane. Well, they were putting in brand new furnaces, wouldn't convert them to propane, and they would get started up. Well, it'd ruin them.
Yeah.
Brand new furnace, we rip them out and replace them because, they didn't follow the paperwork that what they needed to do. So.
Yeah. I'd be the one on YouTube. I'd have my phone on the YouTube watching the video trying to.
Yes.
And the homeowner gets really concerned.
It helps. Some people, the main thing is just ask questions.
Sure.
If you have issues with something, ask somebody.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just too afraid to ask because they think they're going to get in trouble. I'm like, I'd rather somebody ask me and me point them in the right direction than them not asking me and doing it wrong and costing a bunch of money.
Sure. Yeah, or having to replace a furnace because you hooked it up wrong.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So for your guys' business, where do you guys see you heading? Or is it going to be kind of a smaller operation, or is it just going to be kind of?
I want to kind of keep small.
Sure.
I want to try to keep it small. Maybe one or two people.
Sure.
I don't want a bunch of I don't want to go out here and try to take on every job and
Sure.
Want everybody's work and talking to some of my friends that actually have a business, they're like, man, he told me, he said, I think I'm going to start doing what you're doing. He said, because he said he's been in business for 7-8 years now, and he said it's hard to find anybody that's good.
Sure.
And that's willing to learn and do it the proper way. And then trying to rely on people that, you got jobs scheduled in this week and they call out 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Well, then you got to juggle all that back around and the people and, I'd rather just take on, what I can handle. And, if the people want you to do the work, they will wait for you.
Sure.
If not, they're just shopping anyways to see who the first one they could get.
Sure.
So,
Good thing about it is where your employees live.
yeah. And she's 18 now, so she can, if she needs to get moved out, she can move out.
No pressure. Very good. So, anything that you think that would be helpful for somebody that owns or somebody that's looking to buy a house when regards to like their HVAC system or things like that? Of course, check the filter, make sure that it's being serviced properly, but anything else that they should be looking at or any other words of wisdom?
Yeah, if you're buying a house, I would ask, who did you have work on it?
Sure.
Do you have records of anything? Did you, what has been done to it? Parts been replaced on it? Have you had any major problems or anything like that. That way they can kind of figure out what they're getting into.
Sure.
Because I've been to a lady's house not too long ago, back in the winter. She had no heat. And I went there and started working and started fixing stuff. And I started finding issues. And she's like, I just bought this house 2 years ago. I'm like, 2 years ago? I'm like, what? I said, did you have a home inspection? She said, yes. I'm like, well, it's a lot of stuff that he didn't catch.
Yeah.
You know, that I seen wrong.
Sure.
Explained to her. And like the unit that she had, the original unit for the upstairs was 20 some years old. And she's like, oh, they said they put a part on it, you know, to keep it running, in which they put a hard start on it to, basically it's a booster to keep it, because it's getting very old. It's getting hard to start. So
Gave it a pacemaker.
Yes, a pacemaker to help it along. And I'm like, well, that kind of, you know, it's almost like they band-aided it a little bit just to push it off to the next person. And that's another thing people need to watch out is some of them will, and I've ran into that problem too, is where, you know, they want you to look at it and, you know, you're going there to give them to look at it to say, hey, yes, this needs to be fixed or whatever. But then you get the ones that say, well, what can we do to just get it by?
Sure.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, I'm not putting my name on that.
Right. Yeah.
Because that, as soon as that happens and then that person moves in that house and it breaks,
Yeah.
who they going to be calling?
Sure.
Oh, you signed off on it. You said it was great. It should be running forever. You
Sure.
know? So I'd rather, you know, give my honest opinion, write it up, and be like, hey, this is what you got.
Yeah.
You know? So, and then let the people decide from there. But
Yeah. So do you do the marketing for the company, or what are you doing?
A little bit of it.
A little bit of it? You're
Yeah.
going to have Dad doing some TikTok dances soon?
Yes.
Sign spinning.
no, I'm not into that.
I can see you now. So
Now I'm more behind the scenes.
behind the scenes.
Technical side, yes.
There you go. So, well, if somebody wanted to reach out and have you guys come out and service their unit or get a quote or anything like that, what's the best way to reach you?
Through our website,
Okay.
advantagemechanical.com.
Okay.
So, you know, we're on Facebook. I don't even know what else we're on. My wife puts me on everything, so I'm, you know, I just kind of go with the flow. So,
Well, after being on this podcast, you'll be famous soon.
there you go.
The phones won't stop
I don't
ringing.
know.
Well, very good. So finding you on the web is the best place to find you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. So
Yeah, and we're, you know, say local right here in Hollywood. And
you guys service like the Tri-County area, or?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to maintain, you know,
Okay.
trying to stay like same area, Charles, Calvert.
Okay.
You know, trying to stay around here and, you know, just trying to give back to the county that I was born and raised in, you know.
Sure.
Try to help people, you know.
Yeah.
You know, help people out and not just tell them, hey, you need all new stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Just make an honest living.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know, you be honest with people, I think you'll go a lot farther
Sure.
than just trying to, you know, make that sale and make a bunch of money off of them. You know, I've had people told me, criticize me for going out and looking at jobs and saying, well, why didn't you just tell them they needed a new one? Because you would make this money. I was like,
I'm honest.
I'm honest. I'd rather fix it. I said, I can go out and fix something for somebody and get it back running for them, and they will remember me, hopefully, when it does go.
Yeah.
They will call me and say, hey, he was honest with me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll get to work later on down the road. I'm not trying to force somebody into something that they don't need at that point in time.
Yeah. Or gosh forbid that they recommend you to somebody else, right?
Yeah. You know, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's getting bad out here, you know, and I'm trying to make the technicians look good again instead of
Sure.
being, you know, all grouped in a bunch that we're all the same. We're just out to sell, make money. We're not worried about the people. You know, I'd rather take my time and you know, provide a service to people and, you know, help them.
Sure.
You know, when, you know, to them, that's, they had no heat. Or,
Yeah.
It's,
Sure.
it's hurting them at that point, But
Yeah.
some people take advantage of that. They, instead of going at, they see, oh, it's 20 degrees and they don't have no heat, so I'm just going to go there and tell them they need all new stuff.
Yeah.
And the people, they panic because they had no heat and, spend $25,000 in a system that they don't need.
Right. No, for sure.
They might need that money somewhere else later on down the road.
No, absolutely. And unfortunately, most people just don't have $20,000 sitting around.
No, and it's expensive investment to spend on.
Sure.
So, but I just want a job for a church down in Lexington Park here, and I went up against 3 or 4 different companies.
Sure.
And I actually asked the guy when I won the job, I said, I don't want to know what they, bid it at or whatever, but I just want to know where I fell at. And he's like, you fell in the middle. He said, but what made us go with you was your detail to what you were giving us.
Sure.
Because I think a lot of people just said, oh, this is what you're getting, this is what it's going to cost.
Sure.
I actually sat down and researched the equipment, pulled all the paperwork off the manufacturer's website, put it all in a quote, send it to them, and that way they could see what they're actually getting.
Sure.
Instead of just, oh, you're just going to get a unit.
Yeah.
And it was a big investment for them. It was over $100,000 job.
Sure.
And it's a church, so. But I also see people that looked at the church be like, oh yeah, that's a big,
Yeah.
we can get a bunch of
Sure.
money off of them,
Yeah, right.
And like, no, I'm not like that. I'm not out there to make it all one day.
Yeah.
It'll come, eventually it'll come to you. If you do right for people, it'll come to you.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm trying to do, so.
Very good.
That's awesome. Well, I guess, Jared and Peyton, thank you for coming today. It's been, great to hear about your HVAC business. Any last things you want to say to anybody that might be looking for services right now?
Yeah, just
read the instructions.
Yes. look us up. Give us a call. Even if you want to talk, I'll talk to people. If you got questions, questions about your equipment or how it works, or
ChatGPT can't answer your question.
Yeah, or people that are just wondering, like, hey, I got an estimate from such and such. What do you think? Or anything like that. I have no problem in talking to people. So just trying to help people out and try to be good.
Very good.
Right on, and then Peyton, you're here for the support.
Yeah.
And the TikTok.
And the TikTok. There you go. You got to get some dance moves out of this
Yeah,
one.
she's like say she's learning.
Read the instructions.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
You'd be better than about 80% of them.
And believe me, a lot of it is instructions. And, I've had back when I first started in the trade, I learned a lot, and I was I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself.
Sure.
And a guy that trained me pushed me a lot, which I still talk to him to this day. And he was like, he told me the other day I talked to him. He said, you were so good at your young age, but you had no confidence in yourself because, and I learned that over years. It's like, you just got to be confident and do the right thing. So, but I did a job for a person. I was 22, 23 years old, and we pulled up to this guy's house, and this guy's like 70-some years old. He's building his own house.
Oh, wow.
We pulled up in the driveway. Me and the guy was working with me, and he comes over to us very bluntly and says, "What are y'all doing here?" It's like, "I'm here to do, start installing your HVAC system." He said, "You look too young to know what the hell you're doing." And it hit me kind of funny, but I kind of backed off of it. I was like, I didn't get, mad about it. And I told him, I was like, look, judge me when I'm done. And when we got done, he actually wrote a letter to our boss and everything, was like praising how great of a job we did. Because he was like, I didn't think kids, somebody your age could do that type of quality of work.
Okay.
Like, it's just, take your time. Do it like you would put it in your own house.
There you go.
It's not all about being speedy and if it takes a little longer to do it, I'd rather take longer to do it and do it right and do it nice looking job and then just throwing something in for somebody and going to the next one. So,
Sure.
but,
Very good.
All right. Any last words? Well, we want to thank you guys for joining us today. It's JR and Peyton from Advantage Mechanical Services. They're an HVAC company right here in Southern Maryland. Their information will be in the contact information below. And see you guys next time on the Southside Blueprint.
Thank you.